Hey friends, so today we're going to be making chicken tortellini soup. So I use a little more than, I probably use about 3 chicken breasts, but this recipe is, you can use 1 pound of chicken breast. You're just going to want to cube those up and go ahead and saute those in a pan. You're also going to need some tortellini. You can use frozen or you can use like what I have, which is just the pasta that you're going to cook. 1 container of chicken broth of your choice. I use regular, not the low sodium. Also carrots, onions, celery, thyme, pepper, and a bay leaf. I do have some tomato paste on here. I ended up not using the tomato paste, and I also put in a can of diced tomatoes. So I beefed mine up just a little bit differently, and I will show you and tell you about it in the video when we get started. So let's go ahead and get started making it. So you're going to want to start out by, after you dice your chicken breast up, and I actually cut a lot of the fat off of mine, but you're going to start by seasoning and putting it, in a pan, and we're going to go ahead and completely cook this chicken on stovetop. So I salt, pepper mine, maybe put some different things in it, and then you're going to want to reach the brown stage of your chicken, and then I'm going to show you what we're going to do next. So we're going to start dumping this in. This is going to go in my slow cooker. You're just going to dump that cooked chicken that's been browned a little bit inside the crock pot. But don't get rid of that pan just yet, because we're going to put some broth in it and boil that broth and get some of those bits and that flavoring off that pan that's going to go in there. So some of the things that are going to go into this next is I used 1 small container of regular chicken broth. You can use the low sodium if you want to. You could use bone broth. You wouldn't even have to use chicken broth. You could use, you could even use vegetable broth if you wanted to. But I recommend using a chicken broth in this soup recipe. So some of the other things that I'm going to use is I have a full bag. I took a lot of shortcuts, guys. I've been real busy. So I used a frozen bag of carrots that are the seamables, and that is the carrots that I just dumped in there. There is some celery that I had diced. I used a little more than half a cup of celery. I'm also going to use, there's a bag of the bag of carrots is going to go in it, and I dumped the whole bag. And also use half a cup of diced onions that I had frozen. So I already had some of that stuff already frozen, which was really easy for you to dump and make a soup out of later, kind of just cleaning out my freezer a little bit. I also used 1 full can of the diced tomatoes, regular, not the Italian seasoning one. I dumped those, juice and all. I do not drain those. And I decided not to use the tomato paste, and it turned out really good even not using the tomato paste in this recipe. So you're going to want to take that pan that you fixed the chicken in and take some chicken broth. You don't have to put much, however big size the pan is. And you're going to want to scrape those bits off the sides, because that's flavoring that's going to be dumped into this soup. So you're just going to want to do that. And you guys don't need to see me boil chicken broth, but you get the gist of how to boil or get it boiling, and just kind of scrape the stuff off the side into it. And you can see the little particles of chicken and stuff that's come up off the bottom. That is all extra flavoring that's going to go in this soup. So it's going to be time now to put in some seasoning. So I'm going to go through the list really quick, and then you guys can watch me add it. But I'm going to be putting 1 bay leaf in there. I'm going to just pepper it as much as I like. I use half a teaspoon of dried thyme. I'm not a big fan of it, but I'm trying to become it. And so I would probably cut that down just a little bit to, maybe a fourth of a teaspoon of dried thyme. Also, I used half a cup of celery, half a cup of onion. You've seen me use the bag of carrots, but I also put some salt in here. And something that is in here that my family doesn't know about, and you guys are about to see me add it here in a few minutes. I also put a half a teaspoon, actually a heaping of a teaspoon, half a teaspoon of parsley in this as well. So what you're going to see me use here in a minute was, I did not put regular potatoes in this. You could certainly put regular potatoes in this soup. Oh, and a cube of chicken bouillon. So guys, I'm doing voiceover as I'm talking to you, but nonetheless, I chose to put radishes, and I took these radishes, I cleaned them, and I diced them like you would a regular potato. And I never told anyone that I had put radishes in this soup. Everyone thought they were potatoes. So that's a good way to slip in some different foods and healthy foods, and actually it cuts the carb count down some because you don't have the potatoes in it. Um, but it was really good, and you can't tell it, and you can try it if you want to. You can put regular potatoes. It's your soup. You do you. So, but nonetheless, the family did not know those were radishes. They cook up, they lose that red coloring, and I cook a lot of times with potatoes or the red Pontiac potatoes. So even if there was a little bit of red, it still looked like potentially a potato, but it wasn't. So it was a hit with everyone. Also, before you finish this, because my mom had a doctor's appointment this day, so I put it in the crock pot, left, came back. So I left mine on low for 8 hours, and when I come back, maybe the last 20 minutes, I dumped my tortellini in, gave it time to cook, made sure it was finished, and it was ready to go. So I did add some garlic last minute, but you fix it how your family's going to eat it, and use the vegetables and things that they like and the foods that they like. And guys, it was really, really good. The only thing I would cut down was the time, but that is personal preference. And I hope you try and enjoy it, and I'll see you in the next one.